The Legend of Zelda series is now 40 years old. Depending on who you ask, we've encountered 23 adventures among Hyrule's long and expansive history. From the very beginning to the most recent, each one is connected. We know this from the goddess Hylia giving up her immortality to be reincarnated as a mortal, who turned out to be Zelda of the Sky era. Yet there's also another link in this chain. The immortal spirit force of the hero has been around ever since the first hero. But what is the immortal spirit force? And what's so special about it? Well, I've got y'all covered. So sit back, grab a snack, and get ready to connect with the spirits. Today on...
Oh my gosh, is that a Zonai swirl?
To understand the immortal spirit force of the hero, or the hero's spirit, we must first look at the era of Hylia. Back in the ancient past, when Hylia stood against demise, she wielded the goddess sword. As seen in the Skyward Sword intro, which is also at the sealed grounds, we know the goddess sword becomes the master sword, and we know this holy weapon is also alive. Fueled with the sword spirit Fi. But who is Fi? Fi is the living spirit of the master sword. It is unknown when in particular Fi was brought to life, but at the same time, we can see a possible tell on this. We know that Hylia gave up her immortality to become reincarnated as a mortal. We know this to be Zelda of Sky. But what of her spirit? What happened to the other half? The first half we could deduce to be her mind and body, or blood. These two aspects would also fit wisdom and power respectively. When Hylia would give up her immortality, the body would be used to initiate the physical rebirth to come. This aspect may have given birth to Zelda's ancestors, the very first of the goddess bloodline in the sky before Skyward Sword. The mind is next. This aspect is not so much physical as it is abstract. The mind aspect would be the mental connection to Hylia through Zelda. As seen in Skyward Sword when speaking to Zelda, her text goes from her standard white to gold, an indication that Hylia is speaking through her. The mind aspect may also be what goes hand in hand with the time powers associated with the bloodline. From Zelda of Sky freezing herself within a time-protected crystal, to the time power seen with Sonia using recall, Zelda of Time using the Ocarina of Time, and even Zelda of the Era of Wilds and Tears time powers seen with recall and draconification. Especially as the Light Dragon, she is mentally still there, and her body had transformed. But what of her spirit? The spirit is this other half of the equation. Let's take a look at Minoru.
There are stories about the secret stones and a forbidden act called draconification. To swallow a secret stone is to become an immortal dragon, one blessed with eternal life. But there is still more to those tales. To become an immortal dragon is to lose oneself. That is why it is forbidden.
Huh. If the body transforms and the mind is within it, the lost part might be the spirit or soul. In the case of draconification, we see this might be possible, as the spirit is given up for immortality, or to cheat time itself, similar to the unlocking of enlightenment or nirvana through Buddhism. So what about Hylia? What we see with Hylia giving up her immortality might be similar to draconification. The body or blood becomes reused through reincarnation, giving birth to Zelda's bloodline. The mind is repurposed within the bloodline, but stays dormant. This may be connected to the sealing power Zelda of the Wilds and Tears era mentions, which leaves the spirit. In this case, Hylia gave up her immortal spirit, which is the inverse to draconification. Whereas draconification loses the spirit for immortality, Hylia did the opposite. She gave up her spirit to become immortal. So to ask once more, what happened to Hylia's spirit? We wrap back once again to Fee and her mysterious birth. What we could possibly deduce here is that when Hylia gave up her immortality, her body became Zelda's bloodline. Hylia's mind would be contained within this bloodline, so that every future rebirth would be connected with the goddess's wisdom through time. This leaves Hylia's spirit. The spirit was likely contained within her most closest possession, one that is seen to be not just close to her, but one of great importance. This being, of course, the goddess sword. When Hylia passed away in this instance, her soul was placed within the sword. If this is true, then we could possibly deduce that the evil sealing magics of the Master Sword is a byproduct of Hylia's divinity. One that is seen as strong during the era of Sky, but wavering towards the era of Wilds. We could also see that Zelda is able to wield the Master Sword as well. The Master Sword is not easily wieldable, we'll cover this soon enough, but in a sense, we see Hylia's bloodline able to hold the Master Sword, from Zelda of Winds to even Zelda of the Era of Wilds and Tears, who also hears the voice within the sword. The only other person in Link to wield the sword seems to be Zelda. Finally, what we see is that the Master Sword is a living weapon through Fee. The spirit of the Master Sword herself might actually be Hylia's spirit. She's able to communicate with the bloodline. She's a spirit with divine qualities, from evil banishing to time attunement, and she was contained within the sword after the emergence of Demise. In this case, we might safely say that Fee is Hylia's spirit or soul. Knowing who Fee might possibly be now will help us understand the immortal spirit force of the hero. The next leg of our journey is once more within Skyward Sword. The hero of Sky, who we'll default and call Sky from here on, is the first hero in our grandiose tale of Hyrule. Sky's journey is the first one. It's the one to show how Hylia would reincarnate into Zelda, how the Master Sword came into being, and how the surface was discovered. The story then concludes with Fee returning to the Master Sword one last time, and telling Sky they will meet again. Sky, Zelda, and Groose would then return home from the past, and see the Master Sword in front of them. As Fee put it, Sky was her master. He was her original wielder, and shows a bond between the two, one that goes down to the spirit. Each hero after Sky is not related. Well, except for two. The only blood-related heroes we know of is the Hero of Time and his grandson Twilight. But each hero seems to be connected somehow. Though not a reincarnated body like Zelda is for Hylia, what makes each hero special? How are they connected? This is where the immortal spirit force of the hero comes in. I would like to give an example through parallels. One such parallel comes in the form of the Avatar state.
It's time you learned. The Avatar state is a defense mechanism designed to empower you with the skills and knowledge of all the past avatars. The glow is the combination of all your past lives, focusing their energy through your body. In the Avatar state, you are at your most powerful, but you're also at your most vulnerable.
The skills and power of all past avatars? Could it be? Could the Avatar state be similar to the immortal spirit force of the hero? Yes. In one case, we have the skills. Certain heroes are able to learn certain skills like the Helm Splitter, Mortal Draw, and even risky parry counters. Two heroes in particular stand out with this, with that being Winds and Twilight, as both are able to roll dodge into a Helm Splitter. Where Winds was taught by Orca, Twilight was taught by his deceased grandfather, the Hero of Time. Orca possibly found out these techniques through old writings and books. His brother who lives above him could be seen as evidence of this. With the collection of knowledge he holds, and if these hidden skills were written down from the Old Kingdom of Time era, or before even that, I find it likely the tomes Orca read from are the same ones that Time learned in the child timeline. We then get into the glow. As seen with the Avatar state, it is a physical representation of the connection between the current Avatar and all the former ones. With the immortal spirit force of the hero, one example comes to mind, and that is the glow of the Master Sword. To be clear, the Master Sword glows a lot. It glows when evil is nearby, seen in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It glows when the hero of time is about to make the final blow, seen in Ocarina of Time. It glows when Fi is communicating. And it glows when it releases energy beams. But this glow also happened when Sky himself would raise the sword towards the sky. So how is this glow a connection to all past heroes? Well, simply put, it's because of Fi, the spirit of the Master Sword, and Hylia. The glow is the connection to the heroes and communication from the spirit. Even when the hero of Wilds and Tears perished, Fi would immediately glow. Similar to Tears of the Kingdom when Fi jumped through time to Zelda. As a quick recap, we would have Hylia's spirit be contained in the Goddess Sword, which would become Fi, the spirit of the Master Sword. The first hero, Sky, would wield Fi, and his soul, spirit, would be bound to her and the sword. His body would perish and his mind with it, but his spirit would be tethered to the sword, bound to Fi. So does the Avatar state show something similar? Yes. Enter Rava. Because this is not fully an Avatar video, nor do we have enough time to explain the entire Avatar lore, the story end we'll focus on is Wan and Rava. Wan was the first Avatar. He was able to be so by learning the four elements and merging with the divine spirit of light and order, Rava. Together, both were able to stop and seal the malevolent spirit of chaos and destruction, Vatu. As Wan would grow old and die, Rava would give thanks for Wan's help by merging herself with his soul. As his body and mind faded away, his spirit would bind to Rava, so that in the future, when the next Avatar was born, they both would be able to assist that Avatar. And this would repeat onwards. Sound familiar? Denise would then be sealed within the Master Sword, where his remains disappeared over time. Impa in Skyward Sword even confirms this to show how Demise will be gone, only to return through his curse via Ganondorf, which gets even funnier. The next game after Skyward Sword in the timeline is Age of Imprisonment. The Master Sword from Skyward Sword is in hiding still, but its broken version arrives from the future to this era. It is then taken by Zelda and through Draconification is healed, but the original one is still hidden. Age of Imprisonment, though, stands out uniquely through Akka, or the Knight Construct. Akka, or Ancient Hero Construct aspect, is a Zonai Construct husk filled by the shard of the Master Sword from the era of Wilds and Tears, aka the future in this moment. Zonai tech uses what seems to be spirit magics and spirit tech, from batteries to the bonds and the constructs. This shard, with even a fraction of Fi and Sky's power, would be enough to supercharge any battery. And we see this by the shard giving life to the husk. It took form in order to protect the goddess's bloodline via Zelda, and to stop the Demon King reborn, Ganondorf. That shard in particular is only a fraction of Sky and Fi's souls together. Just a small sliver of their true power. But as the Avatar state is also seen in this example of parallels to Zelda, Akka would have at least a small amount of the combined strength of all the past heroes combined. This would be every hero from Sky to Wilds, bound to Fi. Even the form it takes looks like Sky too, as if Sky was ready for a second round. What we can now put together is a concept of what the immortal spirit of the hero is. Originating from Hylia's final moments, her spirit is contained in her sword. Over time, a youth, Sky, would find the sword and evolve it into the Master Sword, with the help of the sword's spirit, Fi. The two would save the goddess reincarnate and stop the Demon King. Through the eras, Sky's spirit would come back time and time again. When an era needs a hero, he would bind his spirit to that new vessel. Once done, that hero is able to pull the Master Sword. Similar to the tale of King Arthur and Excalibur, only the Chosen may be able to pull the sword from the stone. The Chosen in this case will be the era's chosen hero. That hero will be able to wield the Master Sword due to Sky's spirit within them, and in turn, Fi will recognize them as able to wield her. Similar to the Avatar state too. When a hero pulls the Master Sword and points it skywards, the sword will respond with its iconic glow, further connecting the current hero with all past ones through Fi, the spirit of the Master Sword. These two aspects, the Master Sword and spirit together, work in tandem like the Avatar state. Similar to Wan and Rava, we see this with Sky and Fi. There's just one last corner I'd like to smoothen out. We have the similarities of the Avatar state and the immortal spirit force of the hero. We have Fi as our possible spirit to Hylia, and we have Sky bound her, similar to Rava and Wan. Though there is one question that underlies all of this. What would happen if Zelda was to wield the Master Sword? What if Zelda unlocked her true potential by wielding the Master Sword with her goddess powers and abilities? I'd like to say this could be seen as bringing Hylia back in ways. Her body or blood became the royal princesses of Hyrule. Her mind became the wisdom-enhanced time abilities, and her soul is possibly Fi, the spirit of the Master Sword, who is also the anchor to the spirit of the hero force. If Zelda was to wield the Master Sword fully through an adventure, I would see her as unstoppable. We can also see this as a likely game in the future as well. We saw Echoes of Wisdom as an amazing story of how Zelda of that era became the heroine. In order to save the hero of that era, she must save her land. We also see another instance of Hylia's blood standing up and kicking ass. That being Age of Imprisonment. In Age of Imprisonment, Zelda must unlock her divine powers. In order to make sure the kingdom she knows can exist, she must find sacred power sites and unlock them. We also see Zelda of Age of Calamity doing a similar path, though this is an alternate offshoot that was created by Terrico. So to this theorist, it is highly likely we'll see a game with Zelda as the hero. She wields the Master Sword and must unlock her goddess powers. She must save Link and the kingdom. But the real kicker to this is that it might be our third game in the current era of Wilds and Tears. To an extent that we get a Warriors game to complement it, similar to Calamity with Wild and Imprisonment with Tears. This also concludes our talk from our previous video where we talked about how the Zelda team can be seen, in parallel to the tale of Jiraiya and the three-way deadlock. A third game in this era with the Yiga as the main antagonist, natural non-demonic enemies, and Zelda with the Master Sword unlocking the full force of Hylia Reborn to save her country and her man. The balance of mind, aka wisdom, aka goddess powers, body, aka power, aka bloodline, and spirit, aka courage, aka the Master Sword. With this, Zelda would be able to connect to not just Hylia fully, but all the past heroes through time. How though? Well, Zelda would be at her lowest point, yet she would also be open to the greatest change. Her love is kidnapped, her kingdom is gone, her people are in danger, and the Yiga are everywhere. She would finally connect with her spiritual self.
Not now, Tenzin. I just want to be left alone.
But you called me here.
Aang.
You have finally connected with your spiritual self.
How?
When we hit our lowest point, we are open to the greatest change.
Thank you for watching till the end. You can find the links to the songs used and more in the description. I don't really got much to say this time around, so I'm just going to let the credits go and goodbye. Have a nice time.